time. Okay, Ramin, I get the message that
Yes, we are live.
So we are going to get started. And I will share my screen. Okay, if I can get a confirmation that I can, my screen is visible, I will go ahead and get started.
Yes, the screen is visible and we are live. We can go ahead.
Sounds good. Okay. So sorry for the delay, everyone. We were having a few technical glitches on our side, but we will get started now. Welcome to the information session, everyone. We are going to go over our large language models bootcamp program, which is I'm pretty sure this is the only bootcamp in industry right now anywhere in the world, and the most comprehensive one. We have a long track record of training a lot of people actually in the previous wave of machine learning and AI, data science and analytics wave. We have now we stand at around more than 11,000 graduates from our program. And one might say, what's the big deal? I mean, Coursera, Udemy, we are not talking about self-paced courses. We are talking about live courses, I mean, face-to-face, right? So either in the pre-COVID world, the courses were more in-person on-site. And then in the world that the way the world shaped after COVID, we have been doing a lot of virtual trainings. So it's 11,000 is a huge number in a synchronous live instructor-led format. Pretty much any country or territory on the planet, someone from that territory country has attended one of our trainings in person. So a lot of impact globally. So how did this bootcamp start? So we are known for our data science bootcamp, where we have a long history. So how did this bootcamp start? So there are this common LLM use cases, and when we look at Chat GPT and we look at Bard, we look at conversational attention summarization, and lots and lots of tools are popping up. Create a social media post for me. I mean, you can go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to create a social media post for you. No big deal. Content generation, not a big problem, right? So there are many problems that are pretty much, I would say that make this whole LLM application business quite approachable, which is the case, right? So creating a POC in this for an LLM application, not a big deal, right? So thanks to open source software, a lot of SaaS, things, all the infrastructure available as a commodity, Azure, AWS, right? All of them, they make it look deceptively easy. But when you actually start building an enterprise applications, well, you have to worry about costs, right? So you're not talking about, I will just maybe 5 social media posts a day, and I made this demo app. We're talking about some serious workloads, right? So you have an entire organization of a few hundred people, if not few thousand people. Then you're talking about the context window limits. What does it mean? I mean, how do you build applications that actually capture the entire context of what you're trying to do? There are regulatory challenges. There are data governance challenges. Imagine that take for instance, right? So an application like Microsoft Copilot, right? So on Office 365. Now, if I have the ability to actually ask questions about my document repository, how do I make sure that because ChatGPT, if the permission right access controls are not there at the document level and at the chunk level, and apologies to those who don't understand what chunks are, but think about this, that at the different levels of granularity, how do you make sure that your LLM does not actually fetch information to you or someone else that they are not authorized to have? There is proprietary data issues. There is inference latency. Right? So how do you actually get a response? Does your application require an immediate response, or does it require? Is it okay to actually wait? Then how do you use open source models? Can you reproduce the results? Hallucinations, how you deal with hallucinations. Prompts are brittle, right? So same questions asked slightly differently in a slightly different manner. Your prompt may actually give you completely different results. LLMs are, at the end of the day, you can call them stochastic parrots, right? So they actually, just based on some statistical or some probabilities, they actually give you some answer. How do you control that your prompts are not brittle? And once you have created your application, how do you evaluate the application? So there are actually, when you are trying to build an application, there are challenges there are myriad of challenges. There is just a lot of challenges. And we have seen personally, many companies have built their POCs, and then, the POCs actually, the expectations of, from this technology, they are at all-time high. But when you try to deploy or roll your POC out to mainstream, it becomes challenging. And that's what we have been doing. We have been helping companies assess their infrastructure for the last year or so. And year or so, you might say, hey, these guys are not very experienced. The problem is that this is by far the most experience anyone can get in these technologies, because these technologies actually became more mainstreamed very recently, and they were getting more attention. So we have been actually, our services side and consulting side of our business, we have been heavily involved with some of the biggest names in industry, helping them build their applications. And this is a very practitioner or practice-oriented bootcamp, right? So we'll talk about theory, we'll also talk about practice. And then it is basically a practitioner's view of how do you build applications that actually give you the optimal ROI for your business. Let's keep going. So it is a 40-hour bootcamp in person. Right now, we are rolling out shorter online versions, instructor-led versions of the training as well. But for now, we have this bootcamp in person at 40 hours, and around February timeframe, I think I have a slide later on, we will be actually rolling out. We are working very hard to actually roll out the online version of, but online version is not going to be a like 40-hour in one go. Online version is more, bite-size, 6-ish hours trainings. Many trainings actually spread over multiple weeks. So what is the highlights of the bootcamp? The curriculum is quite comprehensive, right? So some people might say, yeah, I want to fine tune the model. Someone might say, hey, RAG is all the rage, right? So, but what we are going to do here is, I will show you the curriculum. It covers let me take it back. Not everything, but everything that is needed at the foundational level, right? So you will learn at least about one vector database. You will learn about at least one way of, at least one. I mean, there is more in different scenarios. You will learn evaluation. You will learn how to build a RAG pipeline. You will learn call it orchestration framework, for the lack of a better characterization, LangChain. We'll look at that. So you will actually understand you will have the entire breadth of how the entire ecosystem, with all the mainstream tools and libraries and packages. Hands-on exercises are included. I will show you our sandboxes, and pretty much, completely hands-off, no software installation needed. Then we have a project on the last day. And all you need to do is just bring your laptop, right? So we have, thanks to our partners, we are covering for, we have a $500 credit that the registration includes for all the software and cloud services that are needed. This includes any token consumption costs. Anyone who has dabbled with LLMs a little bit, this cost can go out of hand very quickly. It may look like a few cents per 1,000 tokens, but every query you are consuming a lot of tokens, so that can actually add up. So this is included. You don't have to worry about subscriptions or getting the API keys secured. Then the GPU cloud usage, we will give you the GPU cloud when we We use the GPU cloud, for instance, is sponsored by RunPod. RunPod gives us a credit for every attendee. And every attendee gets to have their own GPU cloud for fine-tuning tuning a Llama to 7 billion and 4-bit quantized model. And then our own infrastructure actually includes hundreds of code samples. I will show you in a moment, dedicated Jupyter notebooks and a lot of code samples. So that's the high level. In addition to that, we have guest talks. We have guest talks from industry, from companies, leading companies, where the speakers, they will come in, actual practitioners from industry. They will actually talk about their how they actually built their how did they actually build their own pipelines for using LLMs, and different case studies from different speakers coming from actual big applications actual applications that they built at big companies. And then we have our own Discord group as well for where all the people present attendees and past attendees, they actually interact with each other, and so on, right? So I will go ahead and get started. We will talk about the curriculum overview first. I will show you the learning infrastructure and a few other things. So this is a canonical architecture. It is not that you may not be actually using all components of this, but we will be touching upon most of the components in this architecture throughout. Let me get started. There is this LLM APIs. You have these large language models. We will be looking into both. We will be using both open source and proprietary models. Most notably OpenAI on the proprietary side, and then on the open source side, we will be looking at Llama 2, and we will be touching upon a few other cloud providers and other pieces in this block here. Now, we will be talking about vector databases as well. I will explain the curriculum to you shortly, but think about this, that in a canonical architecture, you need embeddings. You need to create embeddings. You need to store those embeddings in a vector database. You need to actually structure your query in a way that your retrieval is efficient. You need to have a search index. You need to have possibly a semantic cache. All of this, if you look at this, all of these are actually all of these components are needed. We'll explain something from each of these components. We cannot cover every single thing. It's a crowded market. Everyone is actually all companies. It's this lot of land is up for grabs. Right? Anyone can just come in and just start a new tool, and the space is crowded. We'll actually make sure that you understand each part of this puzzle. We are not going to actually show you, for instance, right? So when we do app hosting, we are not going to show you all possible app hosting. I will actually give you the project that we create. We are going to actually host that in Streamlit, just one, right? So, and once you understand it and just one, you will understand how you can do it for others. Similarly, I mean, we use Hugging Face as well for model hosting. We use LangChain, we use Redis, and possibly we are in discussion with partnerships with other companies. So anything that you see, many of these players, at least one player for each of these blocks, they are going to be there in our curriculum. So just to give you an idea how we are going to structure this. Now, what are the prerequisites? This is a very common question. Believe me or not, it is as long as you know how to code in at least one programming language, you should be fine. But if you have never worked in data, of course, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. If you've never worked in data or never worked in software, never dealt with data, please reach out to us before registering. Otherwise, I will show you. I mean, if you're a product manager in tech industry, no worries. We have had product managers attend the training, and you will be convinced when I show you the Jupyter notebooks. I mean, how we have structured the curriculum. If you don't code actively, you are fine. But you should have the ability to, not write code from scratch, but actually read code, because we still share Jupyter notebooks. We have had product managers, program managers, people managers attend the training, and of course, LLM application developers, they have attended the training as well. This is roughly the technology stack. I have talked about this in different areas of this in the LLM application pipeline. Different things, the different tools that we will be using. Roughly, this is our technology stack. So where do we start? We are going to start with a general idea of generative AI, large language models, high-level neural networks, deep learning, transformers, attention mechanism, encoder-decoder architectures, and so on. Then, how do you create embeddings? So we'll talk about embedding. And it's more of a personal philosophy. I consider myself to be an educator before anything else. I like setting up solid foundations. So to that end, we'll show you the historical evolution of embeddings, and also to make it complete, because not everyone comes with a complete full machine learning background. So, starting with one-hot encoding to count-based to TF, IDF, and n-grams, and show you, right? So what was this need to actually move towards n-gram, and what was the need to move towards word-to-vec, and why did we go to BERT, and eventually how did this evolve to GPT? It gives us a better understanding of the concepts of context window and and token limits and all of that. So it really solidifies the foundation, so it becomes your second nature as opposed to you memorizing things. Now that you have the embeddings, how do you store those embeddings for efficient retrieval? So we'll talk about different kind of indexing techniques with hands-on exercises. I will show you our Jupyter Notebook sandbox environment, but you can see that we have indexing techniques, retrieval techniques, and hands-on exercises. Similarly, we'll be talking about semantic search, and we will also be, I think the curriculum has been actually very quickly shifting. Not shifting, but actually modifying. We recently have been heavily involved in hybrid search. For those of you who don't know, think of this as that semantic and search has its own reasons to be used, and lexical search, the traditional keyword search, it has its own reasons to be used. Hybrid is more sort of converging or combining the two to achieve certain objectives, which will be beyond the scope of this information session. So this slide needs an update. We will be actually not only talking about semantic search, we have also included hybrid search and how to optimize and tweak your hybrid search index to get better results than just purely semantic search or purely lexical search. Prompt engineering. It's the fun thing. Prompt engineering is nothing very technical, but it is one of the most important things in getting your LLM application to run. Technologists, they seem to fret or obsess over technical details, but at the end of the day, knowing and structuring your prompts better, it's half or maybe more than maybe 60-70% of the work in getting an application right is prompt engineering. And LangChain, I consider that part of the prompt engineering process. We are going to talk about a lot of different things, right? How do you create, how do you access different types of models, open source or closed source? How do you structure your prompts? How do you create prompt templates? How do you create chains? How do you create agents? I mean, I want the query that I'm sending, I want it to also access Wikipedia and also access DuckDuckGo. How do I do that? How do I create a multi-query retrieval scenario? So multi-query retrieval, think of it as that you are your query. I mentioned prompt brittleness earlier in the information session. So think about this. My prompts, my retrieval and my subsequent generation, it depends heavily upon how I ask the question. What if the user is a bit sloppy? I mean, they did not ask the question correctly. So there are actually ways to transform your query into multiple queries. So you ask the question in 2 different ways or 3 different ways, such that you're reducing the chances of hallucination or downright wrong answers. I can keep going. I mean, these are all involved topics, but fairly in-depth treatment of prompt engineering and LangChain, because this is the key to success. Autonomous agents will show you some of the agents, Python and Pandas agent, Excel agent, JSON agent. I think search agent, we also do it. I don't know why this is not listed here. But we actually will show you how to create these agents and with code samples in class. Then we also do have a session on observability and LLM ops. The ethics side of it or security side of it. We actually talk about that as well. How do you make sure that your models are, safe and, fairness is there? How do you log the input prompts? How do you log your outputs, the responses? How do you make sure that prompts are not toxic? How do you know? How do you make sure that the responses are not toxic? Lots of things around that. If it is my toy application, my GitHub project, no big deal. But if you're working for an enterprise, all of these things actually matter. Then model fine-tuning. We'll be talking about how do you take a foundation model like Llama 2 or OpenAI, and then fine-tune it on your proprietary data or custom data. We'll go through a lot of things, rationalize why fine-tuning is needed, what are the limitations, parameter-efficient fine-tuning. Again, a few things are missing from here. Quantization, low-rank adaptation, we'll talk about all of those. And then we are going to actually show you how to fine-tune and deploy, not in Azure. This is actually a run pod exercise. I think we need to change this slide. But we show, so this exercise is more of a homework, but the other exercise that we actually do in class is we have a published data set on Hugging Face, and we bring in a Llama 2 7B, 7 billion parameters, 4-bit quantized model on a GPU cloud that provided to sponsored by RunPod. We give it to you. You actually fetch that model, fine-tune it, and ask questions, and then evaluate it using different techniques. We start with different kind of evaluation techniques. We start with all the way from Blue Score and Rouge Score, then to BERT Score, and then some of the more recent semantic evaluation techniques, GPT eval and all of that. So, and once again, you see the evolution of evaluation techniques as well. And then this is a newest session. I just added it this morning because this is actually very much needed based on our experience. Data governance around your application. So this is something that I was alluding to earlier in this presentation, that once you build this application, how do you keep the data secure? Anything that the LLM application has access to, potentially it can be breached. So how do you build applications that are secure? How do you build applications that don't cost as much, right? So because you have one person using it, no big deal, but you have a few hundred people using the application, the costs add up. How do you do that, right? So we'll talk about in this session, we'll talk about semantic caching and different cost management strategies, different data governance strategies. How do you establish access controls? How do you optimize your cloud infrastructure? This is honestly, I mean, these are the things that, with all due respect, many other I think these courses have started popping up, a 2-hour course here and then 3-hour course there. But these kind of things actually, they can come from practitioners, right? So, we actually do, whatever we teach, we know what we are teaching. So it is not some textbook knowledge. It is actually actual war stories. I mean, so think about like paintball versus, an actual war. I mean, actual war, anyone who has been there, they would say, yeah, just be very careful, right? I mean, so if you have to, don't go do it, right? Paintball, yeah, no big deal, right? So I think that's the analogy that I can give here. Now, at the end, it's a 5-day boot camp, the in-person training. It's a 5-day boot camp. So we start from with on Monday. We keep building the momentum, topic after topic. We will actually start going and adding things, and eventually on Friday, the last day, in the in-person bootcamp, let me just once again clarify. In the in-person bootcamp, we have this project where everyone gets everything that they need, all the tools, all the subscriptions, all the accounts, anything that is needed, we give it to you, even boilerplate code, because we do understand that not everyone is coming from a coding or a strong coding background. We have actually set it up in a way that you will be able to actually do all of this on your own. Let me actually go and show you, since I've been talking about this infrastructure for so long. This is our learning platform. And let me show you this Discord channel. You can see that this is our Discord channel. These are past attendees. You can see that these are all the past attendees who have attended. And then everyone is collaborating. People have been talking to each other, communicating, and really any opportunities that arise. It's more like it's more than just a training, right? So you're basically joining a community of other people who have been through this, and you can exchange ideas there. So let me give you this idea, right? So this is a view of our learning platform. If you look at this, so this is our learning platform. You have, before you come in, see, getting ready before the training. So we have some pre-training material or pre-bootcamp material, then evolution of text embeddings, attention mechanism transformers, or all of that. Let me actually show you one example, right? So this is our LangChain module. If I go and I want to know how to use chains, right? So let's say how to use simple sequential chains. I think I have this open already. So as soon as you click on this code is going to pop up. This Jupyter notebook is going to pop up. We'll give you the OpenAI access keys. You don't have to sign up on your own. And you can see that, I have already encoded this. Hopefully it is still cached. I will be able to show you. And I'm going to run this, right? So, and now, why do I think that you don't need to be a hardcore programmer? I have seen myself, right? So people who were not with us coming from a very strong coding background, all they had to do was understand. Let's say you're a product manager, you're a technical product manager, you don't write code, but you still want to understand how to build products. And we have had those instances. We have had those people coming from product managers at big companies, Microsoft and local startups, right? So these people actually, what they were doing was click, click, click. Oh, now I understand what does a prompt template mean, and why do you need that? I do understand what a chain means, and this is a very simple chain. And the simple chain that we have created here is, I hope this is cached. Let me run this. Yes, this is cached. I love it. So if you look at this, this is a chain. In many cases, ChatGPT makes it look deceptively easy, right? So I can just go and ask, and they do the heavy lifting. But when you have something, basically you entered, I enter the name of a city. It first goes and finds out the first part of the chain is you go and find out what is a famous or what is a classic dish from this particular city that was entered by the user just now, and I just happened to add Austin, Texas. So I entered Austin, Texas. So it first pulls in a classic dish, and then the second part of the chain actually it goes and automatically it just tells you what is the recipe from the output of the first part of the chain. And then you can have as many chains as you like. And now you can, for those of you who are product people, you can actually already see what kind of product ideas that you may be thinking, hey, is it possible? Is it not? And then we actually do this. I wish I could show you what we have everywhere, right? So you can see that we have these code samples, these two blocks, summarization chains, simple chains. In this case, we have prompt templates, example selector, chat models. Let me just click on this, right? So one of them, and now you can see that just click. No strong coding background. And for that matter, why are we doing it this way? The reason we are doing it this way is we in our data science bootcamp early days, data science bootcamp also has similar Jupyter notebooks, but in early days we actually ended up spending a lot of time unblocking people. We spent a lot of time actually, hey, I cannot install my scikit-learn package, I cannot install my ggplot package, and we are spending more time on removing the barriers and less time on actually the core of the discussion or the core of the learning objective. So in this case, you're more than welcome to, if you're someone who does not get stuck in this, these issues, you're more than welcome to download these notebooks and you set up your own local Jupyter notebook. You're more than welcome to, but we actually want to make sure that we do not actually run into these issues. Hundreds of code samples like this all over. You can see I can spend a lot of time on this. Let me just maybe click on one more. Vector databases, you can see now. Resources, you can see over here. Let me see, practical exercises, right? So we have this. So you can see that we are talking about hybrid queries, right? So in hybrid queries, when I click on this, the notebook pops up. We have the discussion, we finish the discussion, and we talk about hybrid queries. And you can see that we have all of this that you're seeing. All of this is covered in class. Very efficient, intense, by the way, intense. As many attendees in the past, they have pointed out, the boot camps tend to be brutal, but in a good way, right? So you'll be busy. In our in-person boot camps, people come in early. They start with their breakfast, having a discussion on the previous day. Then we start the sessions. Then we have lunch together. Of course, we host you. And in between, we have breaks, coffee, etc. So we actually make sure that you're completely focused on this. Anything that has non-trivial, anything that has, I would say, these technologies, are they approachable? Yes, very much approachable. But the amount of effort that it takes to actually build that minimum critical mass of becoming productive, it is actually not possible without a substantial time investment. And think of this as, think of us as your personal trainers. You've committed now for 5 days, and we'll make sure that you leave with a reasonable amount of fitness, and then you basically continue when you go back, right? So it's basically, why do you need a vector database, and why do you need embeddings, and what are the issues, what is fine-tuning, what is LangChain, why do you need observability, and so on. So basically a complete breadth of the entire ecosystem in a manner that you can be on your own once you leave the bootcamp. And we have shown it on many people. Just check out our website. Hundreds of people on video that they vouch for us. Thousands of people are listed as verified alumni. I don't think any other company has that many, but I mean, I'm happy to answer any question. Let me see if I have any slides that are left. Yes, I think I have a few things here and there. Let me go. And so these are our past customers coming from some leading companies on the planet. I mean, you can see that already these are all the companies that have attended the training, the large language models already. So, and many of them are returning. I mean, half of the people are returning customers because they know we are good. So then if you look at this, these are our partners who have been very kind, and they have been sending domain subject matter experts in every area, and they talk about real issues. So it's a very practitioner oriented boot camp. And practitioner, once again, I would like to make sure that many people, they get discouraged. Hey, I'm not the greatest coder. You don't need to have coding. Like, you should not be an outstanding coder, but as long as you can read code, that should be fine. Rest of it, we got it. We'll take care of it for you. So our next bootcamp, if you are in Seattle, we have the next bootcamp coming up in Seattle from January 29th to February 2nd. So that is our upcoming bootcamp. And we are also, just stay tuned with us. We are about to announce our online training. And online training, the same boot camp is going to be broken down into a course on retrieval augmented generation, just one course where we'll talk about embeddings and vector databases, a course on LangChain, a course on observability, a course on fine tuning. So we are going to actually break this course down into multiple courses so you can actually take it one at a time, as opposed to, it makes it more affordable. Our cost structure, of course, I mean, the cost of hosting on our side in person, it's quite high. And then, from a cost structure standpoint, I think the trainings are going to be more affordable for our customers, and with the same quality. It is going to be still live, but it is going to be shorter trainings and less commitment at a time. And I think, let me see. I think I should show one more thing. So this learning platform, you have access to this for at least 1 year after the training. Then if you look at this, we have a lot of sandboxes here, right? So if I show you machine learning with Python, we have a machine learning with Python sandbox. And if I search here, if you're interested, let's say eigenfaces, right? So this is part of our learning platform. You get that with the registration. When I click on this, once again, if you look at this lab pops up, and now you are able to, let me see, it is coming. And basically you can run, I think we have a few, probably more than 1,000 code samples, verified code samples. Many, if you look at this here, we have done a lot of work. I mean, we have been around for quite some time, and we have done a lot of work in improving the experience of our attendees. We're very customer focused. We make sure that anyone who joins the training, they leave with skills that makes them competitive when they go back in their workplace and industry. So you can see that I was simply able to look at this. I can go and search for anything else, I don't know, random forest, I guess, random forest. If I click on this lab comes up, it will pop up. And if I go, I can keep showing you this, but I hope you get the idea. And let me go to questions. Okay, interested in model performance metrics and creation of testing and validation data sets. Yes, we will be covering this. So SC2. Yes, we will be actually starting with the historical or classic translation, machine translation metrics. Like we'll start with once again the same philosophy. I mean, I'm an educator first, right? So setting the foundation, because I want to make sure that everyone understands what are. So we'll use the blue score and root score, and we'll talk about on a sample data set and what is the limitation? And then we'll move to say BERT score, right? So in BERT score, well, what is the limitation of BERT score? Then we move on to some of the more modern ways of GPT eval and all of that will actually slowly converge towards that, right? So we will be using some of the standard data sets that are out there, benchmark data sets, and that's how we'll be doing it. When is the next bootcamp? I have time conflict. We will be announcing the next bootcamp shortly. Right now, we are actually heads down offering the Seattle bootcamp. It takes an insane amount of effort, like reviewing the content. The industry is moving so fast. So the curriculum that we started with like 3 months ago, I think we have changed it by about 30%. And we are keeping up to date thanks to the fact that we are actually building solutions for customers. So we know what's the most cutting edge thing. And then as soon as something is published, we read papers internally, by the way, right? So we have, I read papers, try to read papers. I should not claim that every paper, there's too much coming out. But try to read papers, try to understand any interesting papers, any interesting new techniques. We run into issues. And then we find out, hey, someone has a solution, right? So it's more like a very humbling experience, right? So we, for instance, initially for chunk augmentation, for those of you who know, right? So we implemented something on our own 6 months ago. We felt the need for having a hybrid search, right? Ranking fusion. And then it was not there in mainstream. We felt the need. And then it's almost like we know why something exists. So it takes a lot of time. So we will be announcing the next bootcamp shortly within the next few days. And for the online bootcamps, I'm assuming SHU, you are local, you are in Seattle. So that's why you're asking, but we'll be announcing it shortly. Let me see, there is more questions. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Waleed, actually, I do remember you. So, Waleed, your comment is probably you don't remember me, but you took the boot camp sometime back. Absolutely, I remember you, Waleed. So, I usually don't forget people easily. So, but let's get in touch. I mean, why don't we set up a call? I will send you an email. Okay. I would love to actually talk to you. You will be attending online training, which should be announced very soon. Yes, I should have mentioned. How can I forget? We do have a certification. Yes, because we have an academic partnership with the University of New Mexico, continuing education. You will be getting for the LLM bootcamp, it carries 5 CEUs. So if your employer requires continuing education credits, or if you have anything that is you're part of or member of any professional body that requires you to earn continuing education credits regularly, it would be valid. And so the certificate that you get, it will be recorded, and the UNM registrar's office, you can request a transcript. I think it charge you 10 or 15 bucks for the transcript. So you can request a transcript. So it is we are partnering with an accredited university, one of the biggest universities, and that should, I hope that answers your question. Do we have any other questions besides what we see on screen? Okay, and if that is the case, I am going to, there is one more new message, I guess. Recording classes. So we do for the in-person sessions, we do not record those. We do record those sessions, but not with the intent, of making them available. But for the online sessions, when we do the online classes, yes, they will be recorded and made available, just like we do for our online other online offerings. So yes, for the in-person bootcamp, no. For the online bootcamp, yes. Omar's question, do graduates have lifetime access? So legally, we limit it to, because we are required to actually give you a time frame. If you look at this, this is not just some material hosted online. There is a substantial cost when you run this, this Jupyter notebook. It actually, these Jupyter notebooks are hosted somewhere in Google Cloud or Azure or AWS Cloud. So the Jupyter notebooks, yes, you have access to it for at least 1 year. We have not cut anyone ever. But lifetime access, it's a difficult thing to commit because right now our costs are different. But if you have a lot of people, lifetime access may not be easy. But we have never cut anyone off. So far, everyone who's attended, they have lifetime access. But I don't know if we will continue with this policy moving forward. But at least 1 year, you will have access to all the material and all the content, and all the Jupyter notebooks and everything, all the software infrastructure that we have built. I hope that answers the question. Okay, let's see. I will wait for a few more seconds. If there are no more questions, I am going to... Okay, I think there are no more questions. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks a lot. Please reach out. I think the team has shared links to set up an advisor call. I'm happy to get on a call and answer any questions that you may have. Just stay connected. For those of you who are waiting for another offering, it should happen very soon. And for those who are waiting for the online offering, that should be announced within the next few days. We have another session coming up in 2 weeks for information. And by then, we will have the details of the online and smaller, shorter version of these courses. Thank you, everyone. I hope all of you have a great rest of the day and the rest of the year. Thanks, everyone.